Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards a weekend, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spicali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you are here with us. We are 1 week away from the first round of the NFL draft. I've got a 7-round mock draft for the New Orleans Saints that we're going to get into here in 15 minutes. It's got some real local flair to it. You're going to stay tuned for 15 minutes with us. Joe Healey going to be here in 30 minutes talking the SEC weekend to be. I told you yesterday I didn't know what the series were. There are a couple of really good ones. One of them starts tonight in the Southeastern Conference, so excited to get into that discussion with Joe Healey coming up at 1:30. I've got an LSU baseball piece up called Statistically Speaking at LouisianaSports.net. Breaks down where LSU stands halfway through the SEC schedule according to its peers. And we'll talk about the offense, the defense, and the pitching there. Chris Blair with us in an hour and 15 minutes. Talking Tigers as they get ready to take on the Texas A&M Aggies this weekend. We're going to start with LSU football. They were on the practice field today. It's our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So we got like an hour 45 of LSU football practice today. It went on so long that I had to leave to get back here to write the practice report and do my show. It was a long workout, I think, by spring standards, and it was a long look for us by media standards. So we'll get into kind of what we saw today. A couple things, like the temperature is a little bit warmer out there, and the tempo was really moving. That's a great thing for the team. It's a great thing for them to get ready for. Great thing for the offense to get moving quickly. Great thing for the defense to practice against that. Tough for the folks taking notes at practice to get all the notes down before the next snap. But we'll make it happen, and we did out there at the Ponderosa today. Some attendance notes for the afternoon. Whit Weeks was back at practice today. First time we have seen him really working out in earnest in the spring. He was out there when we walked onto the practice field. They do a quick 6 plays, 11 on 11. It's not really contact, but it's 11 on 11. Whit Weeks was out there for that. They broke into individuals. Whit Weeks did that. They did some walkthrough stuff with the linebackers. Chris Kiffin led the way with that. Whit Weeks was there. Then when they went to the more physical aspects of practice, the 11 on 11 that had some contact, it's never a tackle, but had some contact, he went to a separate field and was doing some real cardio stuff, just doing some sprints and doing some drills where he was changing direction a lot and just trying to get in shape. He's not been on his foot a lot over the course of the last 4 months. So good to see him out there. Good to see him dressed. Wasn't doing everything, but great to see Whit in the middle of that LSU defense. Tamarcus Cooley was not there today. So with the first team at safety most of the time, you saw Jace Thomas taking his reps. You saw Fahim Delane out there a little bit. Keep in mind, a lot of substitution every single period that we're looking at. They're getting looks at everybody, but Jace Thomas did a lot with the first defense today. Tamarcus Cooley was not there. The only new addition in a gold no-contact jersey was Trey Wilson, the Florida transfer at wide receiver. It didn't appear to hamper him in any way. He was going through the 1-on-1s. He was going through 7-on-7. He was going through 11-on-11, but had the no contact on. Trey always has a no contact on. He's doing everything too, so no significant issue at all for those two guys. They were just in those jerseys. I have some play-by-play that I'll give you some notable reps from some of the things that we saw, but I want to kind of put a big picture topic in front of you that's not new, but it's becoming more pronounced, and I think it's worth a mention here at the top. At running back, Dylan Jones is getting a lot of reps, and a lot of reps with the first team. He's getting more reps with the first team in the last 2 weeks than any other back by my count. That's not official. It just feels that way. And when you hear Lane Kiffin talk about Bo Bordelon, quote unquote, earning the start in the scrimmage on Saturday, you get the sense that Dylan Jones has, quote unquote, earned the reps with the first team that he's gotten. We are 4 months from them really making decisions on who's going to be out there first. And that's a position group at running back where you're going to see multiple guys get reps. So I'm not here to proclaim Dylan Jones as LSU's starting back here in April. What I'm telling you is I'm paying attention to him very sincerely because he's going through some of the running back drills first. He's getting a lot of looks with the number one offense. He's bigger than all the other backs out there, and I really believe that's a guy that Kevin Smith and Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. believe is going to be a big impact player on this team, and he may be LSU's lead back. I would not proclaim that on April 16th, but he's someone I'm certainly taking a note of. The first 11-on-11 period was supposed to be some drives down the field. It went real quick because Husan Longstreet was out there at quarterback for the first team, and on the first play of the period, he threw an interception to DJ Pickett on the sideline, and on the second play of the period, he threw an interception to Ty Benefield, and that was the end of the period. They're like, all right, that's it. So LSU's DBs, two guys that are going to be NFL players with interceptions on a young quarterback there in that first segment. So you go into some of the notable reps in 11-on-11. I thought that Deuce Gerald's had a couple of really nice plays where he had a short stop on a run and then got back for a sack. He is getting some first-team reps with the defensive line. At tackle has been the position on the defensive side, really of anywhere on the field, save maybe like wide receiver where you just throw a lot of guys in there. Defensive tackle has been very, very, very much a rotation. But Deuce Gerald's is very much in that rotation, and he made a couple of big plays in the first 11-on-11 period. Look at the one-on-ones with the wide receivers and the defensive backs. There were some notable reps. DJ Pickett and Trey Wilson went against each other on back-to-back reps. The first one was a deep ball to the pylon that was a really good throw, and Wilson had a step, and Pickett recovered and either broke it up or it was dropped. It was a really good rep, and then Pickett blanketed Wilson for an incompletion on the next one, so really good job by DJ Pickett there. And this was Matt's eyes on this, so I'll give him certainly credit for it, but I'd like to talk about it. Havon Finney had 3 really good reps in the one-on-ones. He had an interception, had another that would have been an interception, but Josh Jackson on the route basically tackled him at wide receiver and prevented that. And then there was another pass breakup on Jackson. Now, Josh Jackson is not going to be an all-SEC receiver next fall. I don't think anybody's under that illusion. But it strikes me in looking at 3 really good reps from Havon Finney, who is the youngest player out there, I think. He's a reclassify, and he's an early enrollee of a reclassify, so he should be a junior in high school right now. That's important because of the loss that you had over the weekend with Aiden Anding. You're not going to be able to play 3 corners for an entire season. You can't just say, hey, Pickett, you're out there. Woodland, you're out there. Okay, Jakeem Jackson, you're out there. That's it. You got to have other guys. And so Finney is the most talented probably of that group. You've got Michael Turner, who's older, but I liked a good period from Havon Finney for sure. Winnie Watkins had a touchdown against Deshaun Spears. Jace Brown beat Fahim Delane deep for a touchdown. I think that when I watch and I look at my notes from practice and I see what they're doing offensively, one of the things that's evident to me is that Jace Brown is getting the ball in some various different ways. There have been some screens. There have been some jet sweeps. There have been some deep shots. They're trying to get him the ball. If you asked me, Hunt Palmer, hey, you've been out there for 4 weeks of spring practice, who do you think is going to lead LSU in receiving yards? I would probably go with Jace Brown. Now, if you're looking at a confidence level from 1 to 10 on that, 10 being I already know it to be true, and 0 meaning I have no idea, that's probably a 3 or 4 on that scale. I'm certainly not here to make any sweeping proclamations at this point, but Brown is active. He's out there, and he's been very productive in the Big 12. I enjoy watching him play. I think he's had a really nice spring, and they're really trying to get him the football. Looking at the 7-on-7, Benefield had an interception on a ball that was intended for Corey Barber. Nice play to pick off Husan Longstreet. Jackson Harris had a 20-yard touchdown from Longstreet on a really nice throw from the young quarterback. Jace Brown had a 5-yard slant route in 7-on-7. Longstreet put it there on the ground for him, and he went down on a knee and made a nice catch. Jace Thomas had a really nice interception in the end zone off of Landon Clark. He was getting a lot of first-team reps at safety with Tamarcus Cooley not being there, so good to see Jace Thomas involved. And then saw a familiar sight. Trey'Dez Green caught a touchdown right under the goalpost on a high ball in the red zone that was thrown nicely by Landon Clark. Interestingly enough, speaking of Trey'Dez Green, during the individual periods, a lot of offensive line, defensive line was going on, and all the quarterbacks went to one field. It was 4 quarterbacks, including Levitt, who can't participate, a coach I didn't recognize, and Trey'Dez Green. And they were working on red zone ball placement, basically, with Trey'Dez Green. And I thought, maybe that's a common drill that a lot of programs bring a tight end over and work on ball placement and stuff, but you were literally seeing like the coach kind of get up close to Trey'Dez Green and show like where the DB might be and how Trey'Dez could shield him off and like where to put the ball here and there. And they were making throws, some off schedule, some on schedule. They were showing a pass rush and trying to throw it over the pass rush to Trey'Dez Green. This, again, I'm not at every practice for every team around the country. This may be a very common thing. I don't recall seeing it a lot over the years at LSU. It may be a common thing, but I saw this period was basically, hey, when we get in the red zone, we're going to throw it to this guy. So no matter what the circumstance, if you're off platform, if you're rolling right, if you're stepping up, if there's a pass rush, you need to know how to throw it to this guy. It was an enjoyable period for me to watch and sit there and go, they know they've got a weapon here. They're looking to figure some things out. And Trey'Dez wasn't even like running routes. He was really just body positioning and telling them like where to throw it, and he'd make catches. It was a funny drill to me to observe when some things are going on across the practice field that had been going on all spring that I didn't really want to see too much more of. Notable attendees at practice today that we'll get to before we get into some Saints discussion. Jamarcus Russell was at practice. He's been around a little bit here in Baton Rouge. Of course, Lane Kiffin drafted Jamarcus Russell with the Raiders, number 1 overall, and those guys go back to that year, back in 2006 and 2007. So Russell was there. And also, in big old blue jeans, standing there watching some O-line, D-line drills, Mr. Will Campbell was present at practice today. Off a Super Bowl year for New England where they came up just 1 game short. So that's kind of a look at what we saw. There is a lot more detail than what I just gave you on the practice report on LouisianaSports.net. I sat down at my desk from the practice field and was a little bit overwhelmed. I charted somewhere in the neighborhood of like 75 plays. That's a hard thing to get onto print. It's a hard thing to get into in 15 minutes. So I try to hit the high notes there. And so if you want more detail than what I just gave you in 15 minutes, go to LouisianaSports.net and check that out if you would. All right, we're off and running here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We got a lot to do. Joe Healey's going to be here in 15 minutes talking baseball. I've got some baseball to get to. Chris Blair's going to be here talking, you guessed it, baseball. But it's close to NFL draft. We're within a week now, so let's talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTro'sOnline.com. Owned and operated by the GoTro family for 22 years in Baton Rouge and in Gonzales. They got the largest parts inventory in the state of Louisiana, and they're the largest hustler dealer in the state by far. You don't believe me? Drive down Airline and look off in the distance. You'll see a mountain of orange inventory. That's GoTro's Outdoor Power. If you need to get that grass cut, you need to manage your property, whether it's a home with a sizable lot or it's a business with sizable land. If you need to get behind the wheel of a new zero-turn mower, GoTro's Outdoor Power can do that for you for $100 a month. They've got finance available, and one of the great things they can offer to you is an extended warranty. Of course, you've got the manufacturer's warranty. GoTro's will add either 2 years or 200 miles to that warranty, so you know you're taken care of. You've got that peace of mind. Get by and see them on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge or in Gonzales. You can find them online as well at GoTro'sOnline.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 25 Jeep Grand Cherokee with $15,000 off MSRP.
Plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Marucci is such a gem here in Baton Rouge. Every wood bat Marucci makes is handcrafted right here in Baton Rouge. And you can step inside the wood shop, like right in there where they make those bats. And what bats are they making? Well, the official bat of Major League Baseball. Started up 20 years ago by a couple of former big leaguers and their trainer, and all of a sudden you fast forward, they're the bat, the official bat of Major League Baseball. If you've got kiddos, if you've got a youth baseball or softball team, or you're just curious yourself, go learn about the story that brought Marucci from a backyard Baton Rouge shed to the world stage. Go see the wood shop where they craft those bats. Get in the hitter's house. Take that tour. If you buy a ticket to the campus tour at maruccisports.com/campus-tour, you get 20% off in the hitter's house and in the campus tour store, which could be a really cool thing for some kiddos or just for you. It's Marucci. You can find them online at maruccisports.com, maruccisports.com. All right, draft night, first round, cranks up a week from today. Fired up about it, and we've been talking about it for a couple months here with the Saints, and most of our time has been spent on the first round. Some time has been spent on the second round. I thought today would be a good day to take a look at the Athletics mock draft that goes through all 7 rounds and just take a look at a snapshot of what things could look like. And I'll tell you this to start the discussion. This is not about, well, they're going to take this guy in the 5th round. There are so many variables that's kind of a wasted discussion. It's certainly possible that this writer from The Athletic could nail a 5th round pick. It's exceedingly unlikely. The point of this exercise, in my estimation, is to go through what a draft class could look like and where the Saints prioritize needs and see, when you zoom out at the end of it, if that makes sense. The picks in the first and second round obviously carried the most weight. Those are the ones we know at 8 and 42 that the Saints have to nail. Beyond that, it's just trying to find your diamond in the rough here, your Quincy Riley here. If you just blow it out of the water and you find a Marcus Colston or Jari Evans, super awesome. But it's more about kind of the plan. So let's go through these, and there's a local flavor here that I kind of enjoy. That let's go look at what this Saints draft could look like. Keep in mind, if you're unaware at this point, the Saints have a first-round pick at 8. They have a second-round pick at 42, so early in the second round. They've got a third-round pick at 73. They have 2 picks in the 4th round and 2 picks in the 5th round. They've got 1 in the 6th round. They do not have a 7th-round pick. So they've got some real assets in the middle of this draft. Between 73 and 172, that's obviously 100 picks. You've got 5 of them. So there's a lot of meat in the middle of this draft for the Saints to chew on. So let's look at what The Athletic says the Saints are doing. Not going to spend a ton of time on the first-round pick. In this mock draft at 8, it's Carnell Tate. I have no problem with that. There are some people that aren't wild about it. I have no problem with it. I think he fits the mold of a good route runner, a guy that gets open, a guy with good hands, a guy that has good contest rate, a guy that was productive in college. I like Carnell Tate. I know that he's never been the number 1 wide receiver, but I've talked about this in the past. Justin Jefferson wasn't necessarily number 1 at LSU. Jalen Waddle wasn't a number 1 when he was at Alabama. I'm not going to penalize Carnell Tate for having Jeremiah Smith on his team. Jackson Smith and Jigba seem to do okay. And also, you look down at Emeka Egbuka, who had Jeremiah Smith on his team. He was all right. So I like Carnell Tate at 1, but we'll move forward beyond that. At second round, number 42, they've got the Saints taking Zion Young, edge rusher out of Missouri. So you address at 8 and 42, wide receiver and edge, where we feel like the Saints have real needs, and those are likely in some order going to be your first 2 picks. So where do they go beyond that? You get into round 3. This is the middle of the draft where the Saints need to hit on 1 or 2 of these. I'm not asking for a perfect record in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round when you got 5 picks, but you've got to hit on 1 or 2 of them. They've got them in the 3rd round taking Keith Abney, a cornerback from Arizona State. I like the idea of the Saints going to corner. That is a question mark right now. I don't think you have a number 1 corner on this team. I think you've got young players. I think you've got inexpensive players. I think you have players with high upside, but it's not proven. So adding to that room in the 3rd round, I'm good with. In the 4th round, at pick 132, they have the Saints taking an offensive lineman, Brian Parker from Duke. I know that Saints fans are not super wild about taking more offensive linemen. I get that. It's been your story more often than not, the last 5 years, right? Took McCoy, took Ruiz, took Fuaga, took Penning, took Banks. Like, I get it. Like, you're a little bit sick of that. But you have also watched this team the last 3 years and watched the injuries up front where you've got big men colliding on every snap. Depth is always good there. And, yes, I'm okay with the Saints adding to the depth on the offensive line in the 4th round. And then they add depth to the defensive line in the 4th round, 4 picks later, with Caleb Proctor, defensive tackle, Southeastern Louisiana. Now, again, not about scouting the players because it's so unlikely the Saints even end up with these guys. But going with, in the 4th round, 4 picks apart, 132 and 136, offensive line on one hand, defensive line on another hand. I don't have a problem with that. I think that is just fine. In the 5th round, the Saints go to a spot that, yeah, they've got some players they've invested in, but I feel like taking one of these in the draft is a good idea. They go linebacker, Justin Jefferson from Alabama. Yes, you've got some money in Pete Werner. Yes, you just went and spent money on Caden Ellis. Yes, you feel like you may have something in Danny Stutzman. But you don't have Demario Davis anymore, and I think that taking a linebacker is a good idea. I don't think that it's the best idea in the 2nd round. If you're not going to get Sonny Styles, like, I don't love taking a linebacker in the 2nd round. Taking one in the 5th round, especially one who's played in the Southeastern Conference, I'm good with that. In the 5th round at 172, they go tight end. I don't really have any use for that. You just took one in the 7th round. You got Juwan Johnson. I know that Foster Moreau's walking. I know that you need numbers at the position, but it doesn't seem like a priority, and I would rather take a swing at another position. I don't love tight end there. They do that at the end of the 5th round. And then in the 6th round, how about this? Little local flavor, and I kind of like it. This is one that I will actually talk about the player because I feel actually qualified to do it. don't have a lot of juice on Southeastern's defensive tackle or Duke's offensive line. I can tell you about the Saints mock here in the 6th round, 190th overall, Xavier Thomas from LSU. That is interesting because you are working out Zachariah Branch, who is a 2nd-round pick probably, maybe late 1st, as a guy who's a speed player, as a guy who can help you in the slot, as a guy who can return kicks and punts. And Xavier Thomas, when I think about it, was the best player on LSU's offense not named Trey'Dez Green last year. He was the guy that made the most plays, that they used the most ways. He can run. They literally handed him the ball a bunch. They threw him the ball a bunch. He runs some good routes. He's run punts back for touchdowns in the SEC. He's run kickoffs back for touchdowns in the SEC. He ran off the screen in the combine. So this is a guy that in the 6th round, you're telling me I can take an edge rusher in the 2nd round to rush the passer instead of Zachariah Branch, and you can give me Xavier Thomas in the 6th round? That, to me, is value. I don't know if Xavier's going to be there in the 6th round. Neither does anybody at the Athletic. But that one I like because you've taken Carnell Tate at the top of this draft to be your immediate impact right next to Olave, right next to Vele, right next to Polk, immediate impact guy. But, hey, we know that we're a little light on playmakers there. Let's bring another one into the fold late in the draft. I like it, and his skill set rocks, especially considering the fact that you took the bigger, Carnell Tate's not huge, but the bigger receiver in the 1st round, and then you take one that's a little bit more fitted to the slot, basically kind of a more college productive Mason Tipton with a lot better speed. I don't have any problem with that at all. So what this shakes out to is you go wide receiver, edge, cornerback. Those are your first 3 picks in the first 3 rounds. Wide receiver, edge, quarterback. I think everybody is on board with that. And then you go offensive line, defensive line to fortify both of those. You know Mickey likes to do that. And then you go linebacker, which I'm okay with based on the depth. Tight end, whatever. And then you go wide receiver to supplement that at the end. This gives pretty high marks from me. Not necessarily the players, not my corner of the store. The plan, I like it. Jordan, what you got?
I do like the Zion Young pick in the 2nd round, just because I watched that Auburn versus Missouri game, and when he was the guy in overtime when they was flipping the coin, he was like, "Yeah, we got the ball." Like, so we need that. You need a crash out like that on your defense, and especially in a position of need. I like that a lot. Also, getting Xavier Thomas 6th round, West Bank, Marrero, from my neck of the woods. Yep. I would love that a lot, especially you're not paying that higher premium price for Zachariah Branch. And I know it might be more of a bias saying this, but I think Xavier Thomas is better than Zachariah Branch. Like, that's just me personally. Again, we're LSU.
Would you agree with my sentiment that he was the 2nd-best player in LSU's offense?
I mean, there's the games where he's like number 1. Like, Trey'Dez Green. Like, Trey'dez Green.
He's the biggest freak. He had all the touchdowns. Yeah. Like, he was – no one could cover him. Yeah. But Thomas was
most consistent.
Was the most productive player they had.
Like,
just getting yards.
Yeah, and especially like the Vanderbilt game when Nussmeier got hit and Xavier Thomas basically kept us in that game when he just broke that 60-yard, I guess you want to call it a catch-off. But no, man, if you get Xavier Thomas that low in the 6th round, especially that value and not waste that pick on a Zachariah Branch in the 2nd round, and you feeling a need with Zion Young. Also, I did like that Arizona State pick, that cornerback. Mm-hmm. He's pretty good. The Abney guy, he's actually pretty good. So there's questions about Kool-Aid. We don't know. Is Kool-Aid going to take that next step? 3 numbers in 3 years. I'm already written them off. I can't do you change the numbers too much. I don't know who are you exactly. Like I don't know. So I have questions about Kool-Aid. Quincy Riley, can he step up? But you definitely, I know it's a mock draft and we don't know how it's all going to play out, but you come out of that draft with some good names.
Yeah. I mean, I like the position. I think everybody's in concert here that wide receiver, edge, corner would be a good 1, 2, 3 if the Saints can pick that off. And they got that in the 4th round there. That's where they're going to try to that's the sweet spot for this draft where they got to try to find, again, if they can go 1 out of 4 on that back end, that'd be okay. All right, let's chug along here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll talk about the SEC weekend to come on the Diamond. Joe Healey, he's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Now, Oxford wants you to know there are different types of care they are ready to offer you at all times. That primary care is your comprehensive and continuous care, your immunizations, headaches, maybe some asthma, rashes, skin irritations, and your chronic disease management, high blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, you can do that virtually at times, or schedule your appointment at www.ochsner.org/brprimary. But if things are a little bit more, pun intended here, urgent care is where you need to be. That's for sprains, maybe broken bones. You've got an ear infection, significant fever, rashes, non-life-threatening allergic reactions. You can do a walk-in for urgent care. They have extended hours, and you can find a location at ochsner.org/urgent care. Emergency care is severe and it's life-threatening, and that means you need to go to the ER immediately or call 911. That's severe chest pain, severe bleeding, severe head trauma, sudden vision loss, severe dehydration. That's something you got to be on the lookout for now as we creep into the late spring and into the summer. 24/7 virtual care options are available. Schedule online through MyOchsner, and a convenient follow-up routine care can be scheduled there as well. Download that MyOchsner app, or you can call Ochsner on call at 1-800-231-5257. A nurse can help direct listeners to the best care option. That's 1-800-231-5257, and it's all there at Ochsner.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Lockmeyer, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmeyer, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got a great weekend of SEC baseball on tap. Starts tonight with Auburn and Florida from Gainesville, as well as Georgia at Arkansas. So two fantastic matchups. Joe Healey's here to talk about all of it. He, of course, with D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team, co-host of the Highway to Hoover podcast, also Weekend Waypoints every Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the baseball season. Joe, thanks for the time. How are you?
Doing all right, hon. I appreciate it.
Let's talk about some panic meter stuff. Mississippi State, where are they? They've been swept twice on their home field.
Yeah, it's certainly, I think, for state fans, for the state faithful, I think their panic meters are really, really high right now. They're just not used to getting swept at home, much less getting swept twice back-to-back like that. That's just something different for them. I think in reality, though, I don't feel all that worried about it necessarily. I still really like their offense. Maybe I think we're seeing that it's not necessarily up there with the Texas A&Ms and the Georgia necessarily. Maybe it's not quite that, but I still think it's a really, really strong lineup. And then on the mound, I assume, if Ryan McPherson comes back and is able to give them a little bit of something down the stretch and be ready for the postseason, I think they're still in really good shape on the mound. Now, if the latter does not happen, then that is definitely something they're going to have to deal with moving forward, because they just have not gotten enough out of pitchers not named Tomas Valinkis in their rotation lately.
All right, let's talk about the home team. It was okay when we spoke to you last. You, of course, lost to Bethune-Cookman. You were 6-6 in league. Then you go to Oxford and get swept and don't really swing the bats except for one inning. Now you're 6-9 and your RPI is not looking very good. Where's LSU on the panic meter?
Yeah, it's higher at this point. I mean, now we're that's the understatement of the century, right? I mean, like it's got to be pretty high, just because I go back to something I think I was saying 3 or 4 weeks ago on your show, which is just that, if you're LSU, you've pushed a lot of buttons and you've tried a lot of different things, and it just doesn't seem like anything is having the lasting week over week effect that you're looking for it to have. And that's the part that I think is the most bothersome is that, whatever they are trying to do in that dugout, and we know they're trying a whole bunch of different stuff, whatever they are doing is not taking. And so then you add on top of it, now we've got some injury woes and some folks who are a little bit banged up. And, so now you're kind of compounding things on top of each other. So it's certainly fairly high. And look, Ole Miss, I think with their rotation being what it is going to give a lot of teams a difficult weekend, but that's certainly not a series that you wanted to get swept in.
No doubt. And just by Ole Miss does have some really talented arms, and they made LSU look it over the weekend. All right, Texas A&M, Texas. That's not a panic meter thing for Texas, but surprised that they lost both games that got played.
Yeah, but if you had told me that one team is going to just kind of run away with the weekend, that's the way I think it would have gone. I just think there was so much that was built up into this weekend for Texas A&M, and it was always going to be crazy atmospheres, and this was a weekend that whether or not they wanted to acknowledge it, this was a weekend Texas A&M had circled for a long, long time. I think a lot of those players, even if they just had nothing to do with Jim Schlossnagle and that whole turnover, like it's largely a new roster, so there's not a lot of necessarily personal ill will there, but there's just the understanding of what happened there. So if it was going to go one way or the other, it was going to go that way. And my big takeaway from the weekend is that, man, that might be the scariest lineup in the SEC right now, when you consider they've got the star power at the top. They're getting some contributions from some freshmen, including some guys who are coming along now, guys that maybe weren't getting a lot of playing time early that are now getting their opportunities. Jorian Wilson is the guy that stands out for me in that regard. And then you've got some role players that are just doing a really nice job of doing their role. Which sounds like a simple thing, but it's obviously a lot simpler than just saying it. And, so it's them in Georgia, I think, when you talk about the dangerous lineups in the SEC.
I know how good A&M's lineup is, so I don't really want to talk about that as they come to Baton Rouge. I'd rather talk about their pitching, which hasn't been quite as good. And LSU has hit mediocre pitching. Do you like LSU's offense's ability at home against this Aggie staff?
Yeah, I do, because I don't think they've necessarily, as they've played better, I don't think they've necessarily solved anything there. I just think they've worked around it by having their offense be so effective. They're pushing some buttons here, moving some guys around. They took Weston Moss out of the rotation, moving up Shane Sadeo and Aiden Sims. That worked okay for 1 week. We'll see what happens moving forward. But again, I don't think they've necessarily solved anything there. And the biggest issue is that they don't have a lot of different options to go around here. They're basically using the same 6 pitchers, and if those guys are effective, things go really, really well. If one or two of those guys aren't very effective, they're spinning their wheels and they don't really have a lot of other buttons to push, because they are just really using the same 6 guys. So if you can get to those guys, you've got a really good shot to be competitive in the weekend.
Let's talk about tonight. Georgia is at Arkansas. The Hogs go to Bama and sweep. We spoke about those two teams last week. You think Arkansas has got a chance to stay hot and really find something here in the midway point, or do you like Georgia in Fayetteville?
You know, I do kind of like Georgia's opportunity to bounce back here because they've shown that they are a team. Now, it's famous last words maybe, but they have shown that they are a little bit different than previous Georgia teams and are a little bit more resilient. They do play a little bit better on the road. They're not quite so dependent on the home run or the, just offensive baseball in general. They can get it done a few different ways. But that being said, I think we saw a more true version of what Arkansas can be last weekend, and I really liked what Dave Van Horn said over the weekend, which was just like, hey, we had some veterans that were a little too comfortable in the lineup, just being in the lineup every day, and we needed to shake some stuff up. And, they had one game where they only scored 3 runs, but the other 2 games they scored 7 and 15 runs, and that'll win you a lot of baseball games when you're as talented on the mound as they are, and they've shaked things up too on the mound, and I think it's a good thing that they sent the message that, hey, this is not good enough. We're going to move some pieces around and see what else we can do here. And that it showed some signs of working there. So I actually kind of like Georgia in this matchup, but that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other direction.
Joe Healey's our guest, D1 Baseball SEC Extra. Also can find him Highway to Hoover podcasts and every Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning on Weekend Waypoints on YouTube. All right, the last 2 teams LSU played, Ole Miss and Tennessee, will match up in Knoxville this weekend. How do you see that one?
Yeah, that is probably the number one series for me this weekend. That's a little bit of a mystery. Now, the one thing I will say is, and we alluded to it just a little while ago, is that if Ole Miss pitches as well as they can on this weekend, I don't think Tennessee's got anything to counteract that, because Hunter Elliott, we know what to expect there. He's been the same guy he's always been. Cade Townsend has looked excellent. Cade Townsend is probably actually the best arm on that staff in terms of effectiveness. And then Taylor Rabe, I like that move. I mean, it looks great last weekend. Obviously if you can do more stuff like that against, again, another team that is struggling to put up runs in bunches like Tennessee, I really like Ole Miss's chances out there. The flip side is also true, though. There's nothing about this Ole Miss offense that necessarily strikes me as being any different than what it is. They've got a few guys that are swinging the bat a little bit better right now than they were earlier this season. I'm thinking about a guy like Owen Pano, for example. But it's still a ton of strikeouts. It's still not really necessarily moving the baseball around. It is a lot of standing still and swinging. And if you can miss bats, and this Tennessee pitching staff does still have guys who can miss bats, like that has not necessarily changed. I think it's a competitive series, and it's the one that I hovered over the longest when I was picking the winner for this weekend, because I don't have a great feel for it, I'm going to be honest.
Florida and Auburn, I'm assuming you like the home team Gators in that one, the way that they've pitched it.
Yeah, and that's a team that has been so hard to properly evaluate, just because they've alternated series win, series loss, series win, series loss for now basically since the beginning of the season, when they lost won the series against Miami. They've kind of been this back and forth, but their good has been really, really good, and it does seem like they are starting to figure some things out on the mound. They've always been talented on the mound, but it now does feel like roles have started to crystallize a little bit. They understand that, okay, Aiden King's actually our best guy. Let's move him to Friday. Let's move Peterson to Saturday. Maybe that takes a little bit of pressure off. So it does feel like that is rounding into form a little bit. So I do like Florida in that spot. Auburn is a little bit of a mystery team for me right now. We're really high on them. But they haven't necessarily they still are having a fine season. They just haven't quite been what we expected. So I'm not quite sure exactly what to look for them, but I certainly like Florida in this spot.
Joe, we appreciate it. Enjoy the baseball this week, and we'll talk next week.
All right, I'll see you, buddy.
Joe Healey, D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team. Again, Highway to Hoover podcast, wherever you find your podcasts. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to give you Sean's number at the end of this, and if you were looking for a different way to buy your beef to store at your house, look at Sagrera Farms, because you understand that herd levels are as low as they've been since the 60s, and our population's obviously a lot bigger. That creates a lot of demand, and there's not enough supply. That's why prices wherever you buy your beef have gone up, and you're not, generally speaking, getting a premium product. You're just paying a premium price when you go get your beef. Why not get the premium product? Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef, I promise you, it's going to be prime Angus beef. It's going to be some of the best beef in the country. Whether you're looking for your steaks, your ribeyes, your fillets, your strips, your skirt steaks and flank steaks, maybe your chuck roast, or you're just looking for a lot of ground beef as well, you get a quarter of a cow side. If you get a whole cow, you can fill your freezer. Father's Day is coming up. If you want to think about something to get, maybe you go in and help 5 fathers out by getting a side, and they can all fill their freezers up with that delicious premium Angus beef. So when it's time to put steaks on the grill, you got them. When it's time to get ground beef out for burgers, you got them. So give Sean a call, 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. And just ask. He'd love to have you out to the farm to check out their entire process, and you will be thrilled with the product. You won't pay a cent if you don't like it. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. We still got a lot to get to here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. To start the second hour, I've got a bunch of numbers that I put into a piece on LouisianaSports.net called Statistically Speaking, just kind of to lay out where LSU ranks among its peers in Southeastern Conference baseball by the stats. Some of them I think are a little bit misleading. Some of them I think are a little bit encouraging. Some are not really fixable by my estimation. We'll talk about it. Chris Blair's here in 20 minutes talking about the weekend series with Texas A&M. So lots to get to. Don't go anywhere. We'll close out the hour coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust started up in 1910. That's 116 years ago. And they're still rocking and rolling, up to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. If you've got a business and you're looking for a commercial loan, First American Bank and Trust is where you need to go. Why? Because they're a community bank that is rooted in Southeast Louisiana. The people that make the decisions on your commercial loan are in Southeast Louisiana. Not in Seattle, not in LA, not in Atlanta, not in Manhattan, in Southeast Louisiana. You're trying to buy a home, need a loan, First American Bank and Trust. Don't think, oh, just a local bank. I need somebody with some chops. No, they got 25 locations. They've got plenty of assets. They can help you out with that commercial loan process. First American Bank and Trust, online at FABT.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 25 Jeep Grand Cherokee with $15,000 off MSRP.
Plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
shout out to my friends Neil and Melissa Boudreaux, Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They've been at this for 40 years, y'all. 40 years running Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They know in this part of the world that power outages are inevitable, but you can prevent them at your home or your place of work if you've got a Generac home standby generator from Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Why would you buy it from Boudreaux's Electrical? Well, they're local. Most of the places you buy those Generac generators are not local. They've been bought out by private equity or one of the big box stores. And you can buy one from there, but what's your customer service once you've made that purchase? Do they monitor it? Do they come do maintenance? Are they there for repairs? Boudreaux's Electrical Service is. They're locally owned and operated for more than 40 years. Make sure that when storm season's approaching that you don't have to worry about power outages because you've got that generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Give them a call at 985-397-1562, 985-397-1562, or 225-300-9389 and get that generator installed soon before hurricane season is upon us. It's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They're online at boudreauxelectrical.com. You know, I was at practice today, and I took a minute during individual drills where I'm not charting anything. I don't care who's running through what cone or who's hitting what sled or who's doing what swim move to what tackling dummy. At that part of practice, it's just a time for me to put my notepad to my side and just think about some of the things that I've noticed over the last month, right? And one of the things that I thought about over my time out there, I've now watched LSU practice in the spring 4.5, 5 hours. It's a reasonably extensive amount of time. And one of the guys I think that's really coming to his own, and it may be a little bit of confirmation bias based on recruiting rankings, based on accolades, but it feels real, is DJ Pickett. I think he's really coming into his own. He had a rep today against Trey'Dez Green where they isolated those two guys and they threw a jump ball to Trey'Dez. How many times did we watch that last fall? Like 6. Where he clowned Clemson, clowned Texas A&M, just unguardable. And Trey'Dez Green went up to catch a ball in the end zone on a jump ball, and DJ Pickett, who is 6'5" and is long enough to get up there with him, went up. Now, Trey'Dez caught the ball, but DJ Pickett pushed him out of the end zone. It was an incomplete pass. It was a great rep by Trey'Dez, great rep by the quarterback, great rep by DJ Pickett, who feels like he's really starting to come into his own. Now, I don't know how good Jace Brown is. I don't know how good Trey Wilson is. I don't know how good Malik Elzy or Winnie Watkins or any of these guys are. Like, I don't have, Jamar Chase coming back after his sophomore year to compare Pickett to. So I don't have absolutes, and we'll figure that out in the fall pretty quickly because Clemson's got some talent on the outside. But DJ Pickett is more than holding his own with LSU's receivers. He went at it with Trey Wilson today a couple times, and the first time Wilson looked like he got a step, and Pickett closed and broke it up, and then the next time just completely shut him down. And that's a guy that's been in the SEC for 3 years, was a 5-star recruit, and Pickett was right there with him. And you saw a lot of this from DJ Pickett. I mean, he was the on-3 national true freshman of the year on defense. He was a freshman all-SEC player. He had a great year last year in an unenviable spot. Because, the last thing you want to be when you're a true freshman adjusting to life in college football is the corner opposite the best corner in the nation. That is an unenviable spot to be in, right? And Pickett held his own. It wasn't perfect. Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss team went at him. And they drew a PI, and they got some completions on him. It wasn't always sunshine and roses, but he made his fair share of plays as well. And I've seen him through a month now of spring ball in individuals, in 7-on-7, in your one-on-ones. He's really had a nice spring. And that's all I'm trying to say here. I'm not trying to peg him as the next first-round pick or say he's definitely going to be an All-American this year, that he's definitely first-team All-SEC. He may be all those things. I think there's a reasonable chance he is all of those things. I'm just saying I'm at practice a lot with my hand on a pen, my arm in a notebook, and just writing the next play. And if you were listening at the top of the show, their tempo is so fast in those 11-on-11 and 7-on-7s that I'm I get one written and the ball snapped again and I write again. It's a high-intensity deal for me to get the notes down on the paper. So oftentimes I'm not allowed while I'm out there to marinate a little bit on what I'm looking for. I'm just taking notes, and then I get back to my desk, and I'm like, oh, oh. And today I gave myself a little bit of time on the practice field to be like, okay, what have I seen? I don't need to take a note in this period. I know Deuce Geralds can hit the sled real hard. Oh, look at that. Corey Barber ran a slant. Like, I don't need to do that during every single period and write everything down. What have I seen? And my eyes tell me DJ Pickett is really, really coming along. And look, why wouldn't he? 5-star recruit, 6'5", elite athlete, best cornerback coach in the country, teaching him every single day. He would come along quite nicely, and he really, really has. So I think DJ Pickett is primed for a really nice second season at LSU, and I think he's getting that off to a really good start with a nice spring to this point, and I've noticed it. So I wanted to make that point here to close out hour number one. If you missed any of our show today, including our practice report at the top of the show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Remember, Hunt on LSU, all your LSU football content right there in one place on YouTube. Step aside. We'll get into some baseball. Where does LSU rank statistically in the SEC? That's coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Weekend is a-coming. It is Thursday afternoon. Maybe you've got a tee time. Awesome. If you don't have one and you'd like to play some golf this weekend, give them a shot over at Swing Easy Golf Club on Segan at Perkins. You go in with some buddies. You go in by yourself. You get an individual private bay that's got comfortable seating, a television, music, and some of the great courses from around the world on that simulator. And you can tee it up, card a score. You do hit your chips, you hit your putts. You can get a mulligan if you want. You can get 50 mulligans if you want. There's no rules at Swing Easy Golf Club. The rules on the simulator, do it as you need to do. But have some fun playing some golf in a climate-controlled situation with some of the best golf courses in the world right there in front of you. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. There are opportunities to become a member. Ask them about that when you go. But just step inside. They're on Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club. You can find them online if you'd like. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Stars Luka Doncic of the Lakers and Cade Cunningham of the Pistons now eligible for all 2025-2026 NBA season awards, including MVP and all NBA teams, after their extraordinary circumstances challenge of the 65-game rule was approved by the league and NBPA today. Luka missed 2 games in December due to the birth of his child abroad. He finished with 64 games. Cunningham, who was sidelined for 12 games with a collapsed lung, played in 63. ESPN NBA analyst Kenny Smith.
I think it's great that the great players get to be eligible for great awards. I do think that these extreme circumstances, you should be able to appeal if you're 1 to 2 games within the threshold. But if you drop down to 55 games, I don't think 55 games, no matter how great you play, you haven't made an impact on the season as someone else has.
Former NBA player and coach Damon Jones requested a change of plea hearing for charges. He provided sports bettors with non-public information about injuries to stars LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Jones, who pleaded not guilty last fall, would become the first defendant in the case to plead guilty.
When I want that big birthday energy, I grab Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It's Vanilla E, buttery cake flavor without the sugar, and it's easy to take anywhere. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're working towards the weekend, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, along in 15 minutes, talking LSU baseball. Guarantee Crawfish Boil just fired up in the parking lot. I went down there, grabbed a beverage for the second hour of the show. Just picked up a little Coke.
Okay,
there.
what type of beverage we talking? All right.
There is stuff out there that's more potent than Coke, but
Okay.
I chose a Coke. I can't promise I will choose the same in 54 minutes from right now.
Shouldn't.
But the bug smelled good. Nobody's out there. How do we feel about the 2 to 4 time slot for us? We can walk down there right at 3.
It's hot. I mean, just the hottest part of the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
They got
have
tents out
Somebody
there.
said they got the tents. I seen that. Probably got a fan or something. But so it's at 2 right now. People can get the first batch. You want to get the first batch out the way.
Yep.
Because if it's not good, that means the second batch can be a little bit better. So you're not prime position. Second batch,
We don't have to wait in line.
No.
Drinks will be cold. Question is, will the crawfish be hot? I think it will with an hour left in the boil.
No. It better be.
I think we're feeling good about it. Apologies to the AFR crew. I guess they could literally go out down there right now and get it done, and you can just do the whole show smelling like crawfish.
Oh, no, sir. No. we got to use this equipment. Please don't do that. Yeah, please.
You can imagine the OTV crew showing up tomorrow and being like, oh, this smells like crawfish boil.
Crawfish, yeah.
Right.
I can imagine what Taylor would say.
Let's get things moving here in hour number 2. Some LSU baseball talk. I've got a piece up on LouisianaSports.net. We've now got a representative sample size of SEC baseball. And you can look at statistics, and they don't tell the entire story. Numbers rarely do. But I think they do create some discussion and may illuminate some things that you were not aware of, or may highlight some problems that you weren't aware of or how significant they were. And so I just went through all the offensive statistics available and all the defensive statistics available and all the pitching statistics available and looked at where LSU ranked in league games among SEC teams. So this has nothing to do with the first 4 weeks of the season where some teams like Vanderbilt played 2 tough weekends in the non-conference. Georgia played none. And so you realize that can skew some things over the course of the first, 12 to 16 games of the season. These are only in SEC play. So how does LSU stack up? And I put the top, when LSU ranks in the top 4, I put them in green on LouisianaSports.net. When they rank in the bottom 4, I put those in red. And offensively, LSU is in the top 4 twice and in the bottom 4 twice. And the offensive stats, when you look at them, don't look that bad. You're third in the SEC in runs scored in league games. Third. You're fourth in the SEC in walks. those are great. When you're third in the SEC in runs scored, you feel like your record's going to be pretty decent. Now, as I wrote, there's a little bit of that that's skewed. LSU has scored 107 runs in 15 league games. 57 of those have come in 4 game threes. You smashed Vanderbilt in game 3. You smashed Kentucky in game 3. You had a thriller shootout against Tennessee in game 3 and won it. And then against Ole Miss, you did score 7 runs, even though you lost the game. So you had 57 of 107 of your runs have come in 4 of your 15 games. 57 of 107 is 53% of your runs. So, yeah, your run total is very high. Your run total is very high. But does it show consistent, balanced offense, or does it show an ability to just bash bad pitching? I would venture towards the latter. But even still, you're in the top half of the SEC in batting average at 7th, in hits at 6th, in doubles at 8th, in home runs at 6th, in slugging at 6th, in fewest strikeouts at 137. You're in 5th. You're in the top half of the SEC in league games, in fewest strikeouts, slugging percentage, home runs, doubles, hits, batting average. I mean, that doesn't seem like a 6-9 team. The only 2 statistics offensively that you're in the bottom 4 in the league in are stolen bases, you're 12th, and sack bunts, you have 2. I mean, I wasn't expecting this team to steal a bunch of bases and sack bunt a lot anyway. So, like, the offense statistically looks okay. Now, I've seen it, and I know the story, and I know that they're not hitting aces and that the 7 pitchers that are the best ones they faced in league play, they're up pitching to a 2.15 ERA against LSU, and the Tigers have, like, struck out 54 times and walked 9. I know that, but, like, over the time of 15 games, you look like you shape up. So the question is, like, what does pitching look like then? And so I gave it a look, and I heaped in where you're in the top 4 and where you're in the bottom 4. Well, let's start where you're in the top 4. Strikeouts, you're second in SEC play. You lead the conference in strikeouts on the season. You're second in the league in strikeouts in league play. Mississippi State has more. So you're missing bats. And I think this is a telling stat. You're second in the SEC in doubles allowed. Homers and doubles are, generally speaking, hard hit balls. You can pop one up and get it out at Lindsey Nelson, maybe in the wind at Swayze, maybe in the wind at the box, honestly, Foley Field. Like, there are some home runs that aren't hit great, and there is an occasional flare double here or there. But home runs and doubles are indicative of really loud contact, and LSU is second in the league in fewest doubles allowed. But you've got a lot of statistics where you're in the bottom 4. The first one is probably the most important one. It's runs allowed. You're 13th. You've given up 100 runs in 15 games. You're 14th in the SEC. There are only 2 teams worse in issuing walks. Awful. You are the worst team in the SEC in terms of wild pitches. You are the worst team in the SEC in terms of fielding. So when you put that together, yes, you were striking guys out at a high clip. Yes, you were limiting doubles. But you give teams walks, you give teams wild pitches, you give teams errors, and therefore you're 13th in the SEC in runs allowed. This is a giving thing. Because you're 7th in the SEC in hits allowed. Not awful. It's in the top half. You're 7th in batting average against, which you would expect there. You've given up some homers, but you're 9th. You played at Lindsey Nelson. You played at Swayze. It's not necessarily that you're getting bashed all over the place. Ole Miss swung the bats better than I would have liked. Yes, for sure. I did not like Ole Miss's essentially anemic offense hitting you around for 3 days, no doubt. But sometimes that happens. You are just a functioning charity when you were on defense and pitching. Just giving. And so I don't feel like it's likely that cleans up. I don't think your catchers are going to be lights out the rest of the way. I think you can use some different arms that won't necessarily be as wild. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. Well, I might talk about it later today, but like Maverick Rizzi is throwing too many wild pitches and issuing too many walks. I would rather throw Connor Benj out there. Connor Benj doesn't walk anybody. He hasn't thrown wild pitches. I just wish LSU wouldn't be so charitable, because that's where the problem is. And like, this is not, I'm not saying that I'm unearthing something you're not aware of here. Everyone watches this team. You watch them throw wild pitches. You watch them walk two guys to open an inning. You watch the errors and the fielding percentage just imploding. But man, if you just wouldn't give these teams so much, maybe you win more games. In SEC games, Cason Evans' ERA is 4.60. That's not great, but he's been functional. William Schmidt's sub-4. He's 3.97. They're not awful, but those guys can't carry the rest of the weight. And so what you've got to find a way to do if you're Nate Yeskie, whether it's pitch calling, which pitcher comes in the game, or just guys executing better, and a combination of all that, quite frankly, you've got to find a way to stop giving away bases. Because 90 feet by 90 feet by 90 feet, you're giving away the season, not just bases. I gave you the offensive numbers. They're functional. I've given you some of the pitching. It's not that bad. But when you are dead freaking last in the SEC in fielding percentages and wild pitches, and you allow the 14th most walks, I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to win games. Not at this level. And there's wise people have said, a lot of times in a college baseball game, a team loses it, a team doesn't win it. And LSU does a really good job of losing games. And the ones they're winning, they're freaking earning. You got to come back from 7 down against Kentucky and 7 down against Tennessee and fight back from 7 down against Ole Miss. Like, the one game I can look at and go, man, they just played really damn good baseball, played clean, played tidy, and took care of business, was the game 2 against Kentucky. Yes, Cason Evans was awesome in game 1 against Oklahoma, so that's probably 2 of them. Game 1 against Oklahoma, game 2 against Kentucky. That's kind of it. Beyond that, it's been like pulling teeth trying to get wins. And that's why you sit at 6-9. You feel like in the second half of league play, you need to try to get to 8-7. That's the quickest way. Quit giving 90 feet away by the truckload. We'll see. You want to read more about that, you can at louisianasports.net. We'll take a time out. We'll talk to Chris Blair coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. FabryChevrolet.com is that website. If you're looking for a new truck, how about Fabry Chevrolet GMC? New Silverados up to $11,000 off MSRP. Up to $11,000 off MSRP. Incredible deal. New GMC Sierra up to $13,000 off MSRP or 0.0 APR financing. Just incredible deals at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. And you already know when you deal with the Fabry family, which you have for 35 years in this town, you're going to get amazing customer service, a fantastic buying experience, and great service after the sale is over with. It's Fabry Chevrolet for all your Chevy Tahoes, Chevy Suburbans, GMC Yukons, Denali's. Great customer service. Check them out on Highway 61 in St. Francisville, or find them online, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know hard work starts with the right equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor with loader for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, this is the tractor built to get it done. Don't wait. This offer ends April 30th, 2026. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
It's like Brian Kelly may have another gig. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. Right now, let's talk some baseball. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, joins us on Thursdays via the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Chris, thanks for the time. How are you?
Good, man. Looking forward to a great weekend. Good to be back home after 2 weeks on the road.
Yeah, 2 weeks on the road. One of them went a little bit better than the other. Obviously, Ole Miss gets the sweep over LSU in Oxford. A close one on Friday. Things got away from LSU on Saturday, and then Sunday was thrilling there in the 7th and 8th, and it got away from the Tigers as well. How would you describe the vibes around the team at this point after the toughest weekend of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good this week. I spent some time with Coach earlier this afternoon after his media session, and, that's kind of what I asked him Monday night, even though the guys got back on Sunday, and then Monday was a day of rest. But, Jay was quick to point out that building, the Baseball Operations Center, was full of activity on Monday. Again, guys getting treatment, guys who have been kind of banged up here of late, trying to get back healthy and 100%. And guys just working, either in the cages or out on the field. So that was good. And then in talking to him earlier today, he said, hey, the week's been really good. He said, there's no more rah-rah speeches. There's no more. It's just going out and playing fundamental and executing baseball the way these guys know how to do it. And, of course, it would be different, Hunt, if we hadn't seen at times this team do all of that well. So we know it's there. And again, I think Jay said it. There's no more magical speeches. There's no more let's get in the huddle and me motivate you or our coaches motivate you. You just got to go out and play. And if you want to do what I think you want to do, which is get to the postseason, make another run at Omaha and another title, then it's got to start this week. And again, wasn't the greatest of performances, I think, on Tuesday, but you got the win. And Jay said, we got to start stacking wins, and it's got to start Tuesday. They got that one. Now the next one is on Friday, and when that one ends, then on Saturday. And because you've been around him enough, every season is always about this game. It's not a series. It's not this 2-game or 5-game homestand. It's all about each and every game. So I think the sense of urgency they're not having to preach it, Hunt, and that's what I'm excited to see this weekend. There's no preaching sense of urgency. They're either going to have it or they're not going to have the season they want. And so we'll see starting tomorrow night against a good Texas A&M team, which, you look at the matchup against Ole Miss, you really, again, there was too many free passes. We can discuss that. I do think that the pitching, for the most part, especially in 2 games, was good enough to win on the road against Ole Miss. This is an Ole Miss team that they're front-loaded on their lineup, but they lead the SEC in strikeouts. And goodness knows LSU had a ton of strikeouts. But when you compare I think both teams had 29 from their pitching staffs. So that's pretty good. The problem was the free passes. And this is an A&M team that I think is right around averaging 10 runs a game in SEC play. So that's probably where it starts. You got to throw strikes. Let your defense back you up. You cannot put guys aboard by hitting them or walking them.
Yeah, I just did a segment on that, just talking about how many 90 feet LSU was giving away time and time and time again. And so you look to some of the guys that don't necessarily do that all that often. Certainly Zach Cowan does not. Devin Sheeran hasn't made a habit of that. And there have been some guys that have kind of showed up a little bit later. Marcos Paz and Connor Bench, to a degree, that have thrown the ball over the plate in their last few outings. Do you feel like Jay may shift some of the guys that he goes to as opposed to some of the guys that he went to in March and early April?
I think 100%. I mean, to me, that was going to be my next little point was I don't know anything. I certainly would never ask Coach Johnson that, off the record or on the record. But I'm interested this weekend to see, based on the starters who we know, if we see a different selection, at least early out of the bullpen. And again, you may look at that and go, well, wait a minute, this guy's only thrown, 11 and a third innings or 8 and a third innings on the season, or maybe more specifically in SEC play. But I think to your point, that there has been some, hey, we got to have guys that go out and throw strikes. It's like Zach Cowan. He got the start the other night. I thought he pitched well. He gave up the solo home run. I get that. And I think Devin Sheeran's a guy that you're going to see more of because just the way his style of pitching as a right-hander with that strong fastball and the way he deceives hitters until it's right there on him. Garcia, I think, is a guy who's had his moments. He's also struggled at times. But, yeah, I think you might see a different combination for a couple of reasons. One, because I think he's still looking for the guys he can count on out of that bullpen to consistently throw strikes. But I also think there's a few guys who've had plenty of opportunities in February and March. And that's not to say he's writing them off. I don't think he's going to do that. I think it's just like, let's find if maybe the first guy out of the pen ought to be this guy instead of this guy, and maybe he finds his better role. It was interesting today in the media session when asked about A&M and their pitching staff. Jay said, hey, look, Jason Kelly's back, handling their pitchers, I think, in his second year. Obviously, I have great respect for him because I hired him here, went on to be a head coach. But he talked about the way that Jason kind of molded that 22 team. The guys that we saw early in the season kind of weren't the guys that got them to the regional. So I think that might be the tipping of, we may see some different guys, at least in different situations. So that's what I'll be keeping an eye on this weekend.
They're leaning on some freshmen offensively. Obviously, Omar Cerna's been in there. Mason Braun has been in there as well. And those are not guys that maybe in January we thought would have a huge role on this team, and they are. How have you seen those two guys in their first season in Baton Rouge?
No, they've been impressive, and they're only going to get better. And again, you're going to have to take some of the good with maybe occasionally a mistake here or there. But I'll say this. I mean, there have been moments in the last 2 weekends where those two freshmen were saving graces, especially at the plate. And I'd be shocked if barring an injury or somebody having to move over another position to fill an injury, I don't think you're going to see Braun or Cerna out of the lineup. And, I asked Jay about it on Monday, and he said, look, we got Aaron Beatty and Cerna. That's going to be our DH and our catcher for the foreseeable future. And Mason Braun is going to be our first baseman for the foreseeable future. Now, what does that mean? This weekend, next 3, weekends? I don't know. But I have a hard time thinking with what they bring to the plate and the benefit they are going to get this year of playing in the top league in college baseball and getting this type of experience. I think right now they're probably leaning towards we're going to run with these guys. Because they're not really going to hurt us they can help us, and goodness knows that sets them up great for 2027.
A lot of times at LSU, you bring in the phenom player, and they're a phenom from the first day, and then they go on to be a first-round draft pick and find their way into the big leagues. It's not as often that guys kind of get their feet wet and then progress and then like emerge as a junior. But Jake Brown is kind of that story where he played as a freshman, but he hit about 200. He wasn't probably ready to hit at the level, and then he platooned last year with Josh Pearson. Now he's the dude. Like, what's it been like watching Jake Brown over the last 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when I look at this team, and I've said this, I think you and I had this conversation not too long ago. I said, look, when you look at the team that was last year, which I still believe overachieved, I think the coaching staff and that team superseded what I expected compared to the 23 team. And I've told this story a million times. In 23, I thought if they didn't get to Omaha, that was going to be a huge disappointment. Last year, I thought they superseded their ceiling a little bit. And it was a great team effort. And again, that's when you got a guy like Jake Brown, who, as you pointed out, was not an everyday guy last year. He was platooning with Pearson. You saw flashes of it his freshman season. You certainly saw it last year on that run to a title. And now you got a guy who I think is a fully formed, dangerous hitter that no pitcher really wants to look up and see him at the plate, especially with runners on base. And it's been fun to watch Jake progress. I mean, I think he is certainly well on his way to a great opportunity and career in professional baseball. And, I just get the sense, there's a lot of coaches, and you talk to a lot of coaches, they got into the business to develop. That's what they wanted to do. And of course, the game has changed over the last 5 or 6 years. But if you get one of those or two of those or three of those, you can almost sense that the coach takes just an immense amount of pride in watching a guy go from his freshman year to what we're seeing Jake do now in his junior campaign.
Well, I don't have any stories about working or playing at Augusta National, but I'm looking forward to the weekend next year. We'll have some fun. Hopefully, win a couple of baseball games.
Yeah, let's win a few, man. Let's win a series. Let's sweep the Aggies, and it'll be interesting because they're coming off an emotional high. They didn't play the third game on Sunday due to the weather, but they took care of business against their former coach and their in-state rivals. So maybe they come in here riding a little high. And LSU, again, if they get back to fundamentals, just fielding the ball, throwing strikes, and finding some timely and clutch hitting when the opportunity presents itself, this team can certainly go on a run here down the stretch.
We'll see you tomorrow, Chris. Thanks.
You got it.
He is Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, LSU, and Texas A&M tomorrow. Early start time tomorrow, 6 o'clock start time tomorrow for television. So that'll be over on Eagle 98.1 as well. You can start listening at 5:30. I'll be on with Chris for pregame for a 6 o'clock first pitch. 7 o'clock late on Saturday first pitch. And then the, as usual, afternoon time on Sunday. Tigers and Aggies. Ags in the top 10. They can really swing the bats. We'll get into previewing them on tomorrow's show. And I'm looking forward to getting in the box. They're all I will probably say big weekend for LSU until they have lost enough where it's not a big weekend, then it's a big weekend. And maybe they don't lose enough, and they're all big, and that's what I'm hoping for. This one certainly qualifies a huge, huge, huge opportunity and series for LSU. If you win a couple here, you're okay. You lose 2, you're in some trouble. You get swept on your home field, you've lost 6 in a row, you got real problems. That just is what it is. So hopefully the Tigers can come out and get a couple. I'm not getting greedy here. I'm not asking to sweep a team that's going to hit a ton. They're going to hit some home runs this week. They're probably going to score 10 or 12 in a game this weekend. That's not to suggest LSU can't match that. They did it certainly in Knoxville. They're capable, but A&M's going to have a game this weekend where they hit like crazy. That might be one you drop. But if you win the other 2, you're in good shape. So we'll see. Looking forward to my time in the booth this weekend. I'll be with Chris tomorrow starting at 5:30 for pregame. 6 o'clock first pitch. LSU and A&M from the box. Let's talk about Brian Kelly's new gig. What does that mean? It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetimeroofingla.com. Look, a roofing decision is a big decision. That's obvious. It's big for multiple reasons. One, your roof is what protects your home. It's, for most people, their most valuable asset. It certainly protects your family, which is anybody's most valuable asset. It's also big in the sense that it can carry a pretty significant price tag. So when you think about a new roof, whether that comes as a result of some sort of situation or you just need a new one because yours is old and not functioning properly, Lifetime Roofing needs to be on your list. Give them a call. Let them do that inspection. They'll check it out. If you need a new roof, they're happy to put a new roof on your home, and they'll allow you to finance it up to 18 months 0%. Maybe it's not a new roof that you need. Maybe you just need a repair. They'll do the repair. Maybe you just need a fortification. Strengthen that thing, tune it up. They'll do that as well. They're locally owned and operated. They're right here in Baton Rouge. And look, as of January 1st, you get a lifetime workmanship warranty. That's on the workmanship as well as the materials, which are backed by CertainTeed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. It's Lifetime Roofing. If you need a roof, give them a call. Check them out online. LifetimeRoofingLA.com.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Let me remind you about One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. You know, safety is a big, big deal when it comes to bathrooms for those that are getting up in age. And if you feel like there's somebody in your life who may have a hazard in the bathroom, hey, One Bath and Closets, David Duvall and his team, happy to help you out with that. They can put in non-slip floors. They can put in handrails and slippery places. They can put in walk-in tubs for safety, for comfort. They can put in a bench in your shower. If these are not things you have thought of, David and his team do it all the time. So if there's someone you have in mind that may need some assistance in the bathroom, One Bath and Closets is happy to do it. Go to the website and see some of the pictures of their awesome work. You can request that free consultation with David. He'll just talk to you about what they can help you with. If you're looking for financing options, they have them, 0% up to 18 months. It's One Bath and Closets. They've been at this for 40 years. Give them a call. Go with the trusted name here in Baton Rouge. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com. All right, so over the weekend into Tuesday, Brian Kelly showed up. He's kind of been under the radar, not doing a lot. Did one interview on SiriusXM, but showed up on CBS Sports Network. He was sitting alongside Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, and Beanie Wells, and they were talking draft. And it sounds like that's not going to be his last time on the desk. It sounds like he's going to be part of the CBS Sports Network team moving forward into the summer and into football season. And you may say, I don't care. I don't really watch CBS Sports Network. And I don't really care about Brian Kelly because he didn't coach my team anymore. And that's fair, but it does matter. It does matter. Because LSU owes Brian Kelly a lot of cash to the tune of $800,000 every single month. That's part of the $54 million buyout. $800K a month for the next 5 years, okay? And every cent he makes in either coaching or in broadcasting comes out of that buyout. Now, I'm not a recruiter. I'm not a general manager or CEO of a television station. I'm not in charge of hiring or negotiating contracts. I'm not an agent. So I don't know what Brian Kelly can make by being on CBS Sports Network. I don't know if they're asking him for 13, 15 hours a week. I don't know if they're asking him for just 4 hours a week. I don't know if he's on a daily show. I have no idea what the actual scope of work's going to be for CBS Sports Network. And so, therefore, I can't even ballpark what they're going to pay him. But anything's going to help because, as you are well aware, the almighty dollar runs everything in college sports. And now that dollar is not just for coaches and buyouts and facilities. You got to pay the players. And the money that you spend buying out a football coach could theoretically be used for a left tackle or a point guard or a Friday night starter or a cornerback or a power forward. You get the picture. You got revenue. You got money that you can pull together and spend, but if you're shelling it out on the other side, it hurts business. So Brian Kelly getting a gig with CBS Sports is great for LSU. Now, in his contract, it stipulated he had to, quote-unquote, find work, make an effort. And I don't know how earnest that effort had to be, and I don't know what the contract negotiations are going to look like. But look, and I don't know if there are laws against this, but this is something that I think about. It's like, if I'm Brian Kelly, more specifically, if I'm CBS Sports, and I can get Brian Kelly to come do some work, and I'll talk about what I think about him on television in a second, but we'll talk about the money because I think that matters about it to LSU. And I know that he's making $800,000 a month from LSU. Well, what's the minimum I can pay you, coach? Because it's not going to change your income. Unless CBS is going to pay him more than $800,000 a month, which they're not, then Kelly's making the same thing no matter what. It's just a matter of whether LSU fits 100% of the bill, 80% of the bill, 60% of the bill, 50% of the bill, whatever. But he's making the same. So if I'm CBS Sports, I'm going, all right, well, I'll pay you $80,000 a year. LSU can handle the rest. They're on the hook for the $10 million anyway. That's what I would do. So I don't know how big an impact this is going to make on LSU, but it's certainly not going to hurt. So you'll take the extra money that Brian Kelly is going to put back in your kitty by working. Now, as far as Brian Kelly goes on the air, I think he'll be okay. I think I probably have a different view of Brian Kelly than a lot of people. I think most people feel strongly about Brian Kelly. His approval rating is very, very low. It was very, very low at Notre Dame for two reasons. One, you're the head coach at Notre Dame, and most people who aren't Notre Dame fans don't like Notre Dame. And two, his demeanor was unlikable. He was unpleasant. He was short. He was often red-faced and screaming and profane, and he just wasn't likable. And I think he probably, once he got a $100 million payday, came to Baton Rouge and said, I can do a little bit better than that. Like, I don't have the stress of cultivating my career. Now I'm just here to try to win football games, not climb the ladder. So I can probably be a little bit better about that. He let the media into practice. He came into press conferences with a smile on his face. He attempted to make some jokes. I think that was a little bit against his nature. And certainly at practice, we saw him get upset and, lay into players and coaches for sure. But he wasn't nearly as animated as he was or unpleasant as he was at Notre Dame. I don't necessarily find him to be the most entertaining or witty guy in the room. He tried to make some dad jokes that were funny because they weren't funny, and I appreciated that. Some of the jokes were not great. Some of them didn't land. Oftentimes he would make a joke and then go, "That's a joke." And that's the key. That's the tell that it probably wasn't the best joke ever. But he obviously knows football extremely well. He knows the coaches in the sport very well. He's competed against the best in the sport. He's competed against Kirby. He's competed against Kalen DeBoer. He's competed against some of the guys at the top of the sport. So you feel like he's got a real handle on what's going on in college sports right now. He's dealt with the changing rules with the NIL and the transfer portal, and he's dealt with the revenue sharing and all that goes into assembling a roster and dealing with the money. I think he becomes immediately a voice of authority on that in a way that even like Nick Saban can't really be a voice of authority. He's been out of the game for 2.5 years. I think that he's more impactful in that way than Kirk Herbstreit or Joel Klatt, or pick your voice of college football. He's been in the fire, and he obviously knows the game. So if he sticks to that and makes his corny jokes, I think he'll be fine. You don't have the pressure of wins and losses. You don't have the pressure of dealing with 19 and 20-year-old kids who make more money than you. You don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff. I think he can do a good job. I'm not all that interested in the job he's going to do. I'm more interested in how much money CBS is going to pay him to take off of LSU's plate, and hopefully it's fairly representative of the job he will do. I'm confident he will get a bit of a reduction in pay from CBS because LSU's supplementing it. But if you can cut $300K off that, it's $300K. I mean, I know a couple of programs on this campus that'll take $300,000. I promise you. So we'll see what comes of it, but it sounds like Brian Kelly will be making a home on CBS Sports Network moving forward into this football season. You hope that over the course of the next 5 years where you have that offset, he either becomes a real asset to one of those networks and gets that big deal on CBS or gets that big deal on Fox or ESPN, or somebody wants to hire him and they pay him a sizable amount of money to be their football coach. That's the key. He was generally going to get on the ground floor, and that's probably what this is. But hey, any money will help, and this should ultimately help LSU in some way. How do you think he's going to be on TV?
Hunt, I'm going to be honest, man. I'd rather watch a penguin solve a Rubik's Cube than sit there and listen to Brian Kelly talk anything about college football.
Yeah, you're the same as most people.
Hey, look, and people going to hear this. Look, listen, guys. I don't think my opinion about Brian Kelly is a little bit different. I agree with you. He might not be the worst guy ever, but just the last taste of my mouth is just him snapping on all the coaches in the Texas A&M game, seeing the season just unravel. It was already pretty much unraveled, but just that, I just cannot get that image out of my head. When he was like, I guess like the special teams coach or something like that. He was just like spazzing on this guy's like, "You're fired" after the game. Like just seeing all that, the A&M fans swaying in the crowd and just the optics. That is the lasting image I have of Brian Kelly, and that will be the only image I have of Brian Kelly. So seeing him on TV, I almost like, I might need to go to rehab or something. I started shaking. Like, what is this?
I'll take the cash.
Yes.
Just offset the cash.
Look, like you said, there's programs on this campus that $300K will be the world. So CBS, pay him, get him out my face, get him out my life.
Yeah, and to be clear, I just threw that number out. I have no idea what they're going to pay him. We'll take whatever it is over there on Dalrymple. All right. Well, I guess Nicholson is the street I was looking for.
Yeah, close enough.
Whatever. All right. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com is the website. I tell y'all all the time that Highland Insurance Group is more than happy to come in and write your property and casualty insurance. That's one of the things they're great at, but it's not the only thing they're great at. If you are having trouble as a business owner, as a CFO, of dealing with your employee benefits, the Highland Insurance Group is more than happy to help you with that. They can give you a second set of eyes. They can give you a second option for your employees' medical, dental, vision, all those benefits that help you retain your employees, keep them happy, and attract new talent into your organization. Benefits is very, very important, and it's a huge piece of the bottom line for so many businesses. If you fall into that category and you've had a couple of bad renewals or you think the next one might not be great, the Highland Insurance Group is more than happy to help you with your benefits. Yes, property and casualty, they got you covered there as well. If you're looking for new benefits, maybe looking for a second opinion, the Highland Insurance Group can help you with that. They're online at highlandig.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
The Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. You know, you can tell when you've got a great piece of meat and when you just don't. You can tell. And when you work with Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms, you know that you're getting prime Angus beef. That intramuscular fat score tells the story. If it's between 0 and 3, you're talking about select. That's the bottom of the barrel. That choice beef, it's about 60% of the beef out there is between 4 and 8. Beyond that, on the scale is prime. Everything you get from Sagrera Farms is prime. But you're talking about 11, 12, 16, 18 on that scale. The best of the best just north of Baton Rouge. This is not a fluke. It's a process. It's genetically mating superior cattle and getting incredible results time and time and time again. This cattle is raised on grass, finished on grain, dry aged 45 days. It is tender. It is flavorful. It is incredibly marbled, and you will love it. So go to Sagrera Farms. Talk to Sean. You don't have to put a deposit down. You don't pay a cent if you don't like it. But it's prime, and it's awesome. And it's what we've got at the Palmer House, and we're not going back. It's Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. You can give Sean a call at 225-719-1723. Say, hey, I'd like to get some beef, like to fill the freezer. He's happy to help. They've got it on the farm. It's ready for you up there in Ethel, 30 minutes from Baton Rouge. Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef, bring you our Thursday shows. All right, final order of business. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, Hunt. So Los Angeles guard Luka Doncic and Detroit Pistons guard Cade Cunningham will be eligible for the end of the season awards. The NBA and the National Players Association came together Thursday that they're going to allow them to bypass the 65-game threshold for the eligibility requirements. So Doncic played 64 games, but he missed 2 games for the birth of his child. And Cade Cunningham played 63 games, but he missed 12 games because he had a collapsed lung. Somebody fell on him in mid-March. So was this valid for the NBA to make exceptions to the rule? Take it or leave it?
Take it.
I'll take it.
I don't need a guy who's averaging a triple-double over 26 games to win MVP.
Yep.
But if you're right there and you had a kid and you missed a Tuesday, Thursday.
No, he's right there.
I'm fine. I think they are absolutely – they had enough impact on the season to warrant awards. Doesn't mean they have to win the awards, but to allow them a vote, I think is completely fine.
Especially because, again, like you said, 64 games and 63 games. We're not talking they played 20 games or something like that.
You're close.
They're right there. So, all right, a former Alabama football player is facing charges of wire fraud and identity theft after he was allegedly using wigs and fake driver's license to impersonate NFL players of the purpose of nearly securing $20 million in loans, according to federal court records. Prosecutors allege that Luther Davis pretended to be 3 different NFL players.
He was from Louisiana.
Oh, really? From May 2023 to October 2024. The 3 players are Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Penix, David Njoku for the Cleveland Browns. Well, he's not in the Browns no more, former Browns tight end, and Green Bay Packers safety Xavier McKinney. So is it too easy to steal somebody's identity in 2026? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it, but it wasn't for Luther Davis. My man went to West Monroe. I remember that name.
Wow.
I remembered that name. Class of 2007, around my time. That's just remarkably stupid.
Fake wigs.
You want to fake an ID to get into a club?
Yeah, a little bar or something. Yeah.
You want to do that? You want to get $20 million in loans? You are a clown. Go sit in the jail. That's absurd. I don't don't have another way to say that. $20 million bucks? Yeah, I'm David Njoku. What, come on, man. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm Michael Penix.
Luther Davis from West Monroe went to play for Saban and the Tide.
Yeah, man. Maybe you went to LSU. It might be a different story. So the Dodgers shattered.
Or if he would have just born 15 years later and he could have got NIL, wouldn't have to steal money.
That, or maybe not trying to run up $20 million on fake wigs and fake IDs.
Fake wigs.
You sooner or later you're not Michael Penix Jr. who doesn't even have hair. But all right, the Dodgers, the Dodgers shattered the spending record, $550 million on their payroll for their second straight World Series title, despite they have the deferred payments. And this is 7 times more than the lowest team at $68.7 million of the Miami Marlins. So at some point, this has to change, right? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I think something's going to change. I don't think they're going to get a salary cap.
Okay.
I think they'll get a spending floor to make ownership come up on prices so that you don't have such a disparity. But I don't think they're going to be able to get the players to agree to a salary cap. The argument against that, and this is above my pay grade significantly, is that the 30 billionaire groups can outweight the players who don't have enough money, who have to go play.
Yes.
So maybe that's the case, and that's certainly the strategy they will use, but I just don't know
Wait them out.
that they're going to be able to get a salary cap put in. We'll see.
That's crazy though. $500 million to $68 million.
I mean, it's absurd.
Yes.
They pay more in luxury tax penalties than some of the teams pay in payroll. It's not fair. It's just not. Now, my team happens to be able to spend a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So I don't spend a lot of time complaining about it, and I champion the Dodgers.
Yeah, they're doing the right
for
thing.
Playing by the rules and going to try to win a championship, and they won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to truly ask the Pirates to beat the Dodgers. It's just it's an impossibility.
So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for a Thursday show. Football practice report at the top of the show. Got to see another 2 hours today. You can read about it at LouisianaSports.net or check that out at the top of our show. Hunt on LSU is where you can find all of our LSU content. Talk to Joe Healey about SEC baseball. Talk to Chris Blair. I gave some thoughts on baseball as well as some thoughts on DJ Pickett as well. And some Saints mock draft stuff. You can look at that at the Hunt on Saints. I'm going to get some crawfish. We're back same time, same place tomorrow. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let me tell you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website. FabryChevrolet.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at FabryChevrolet.com. The Fabry family has been at this 35 years in Baton Rouge. You know the family. The 5 different locations, 3 brands. We're talking about now on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Unbelievable customer service, great buying experience, and great service after the sale. So if the summer months are creeping up on you and you know that it's almost time to pile the family in that SUV and take that road trip wherever it may be, to the beach or to the grandparents' house or wherever you're headed, well, it's a great time to get a new SUV. You can get a GMC Yukon, GMC Denali, Chevy Tahoe. They've got them there on the lot at FabryChevrolet.com. Check them out online. You can go to Highway 61 in St. Francisville, take that short drive up, and make that purchase. It's Fabry Chevrolet. You can always find them online at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all.